My name is Karin Sibul. I am a conference interpreter and researcher from Estonia. As I am interested in the history of interpreting, I may be called a histerpreter. Today I am going to tell you about interlingual interpretation of theatre performances. The simultaneous interpreting of theatre performances is a largely unrecognized and highly specialized area of interpretation that responds to the needs to integrate an increasingly mobile international community. Its purpose is to solicit participation in the host country's cultural life. Like in so many other areas, revised accessibility standards and state-of-the-art technology are also having an impact on the field of theatre interpreting. First, I will give a brief overview of the historic background and reasons why theatre interpreting was introduced in Estonia. Next, I am going to outline the current usage of simultaneous theatre interpreting, and I will end my presentation with an overview of cutting-edge technology used to replace interpreters and answer the question why a theatre in technology-savvy Estonia gave up on an iPad-based solution. When researching the history of interpreting in Estonia, I established that Estonia has 70 years of experience with interpreting theatre performances simultaneously from Estonian into Russian. We should distinguish between two periods in theatre interpreting in Estonia as determined by two drastically different socio-political periods in Estonia's history. From 1944 to 1991, when Estonia was occupied by the Soviet Union, and from 1991 onwards, when Estonia had regained its independence. The percentage of Russians in Estonia leaped from 8% before World War II to 30% by the time of the 1989 census. Theatre interpreters in Estonia fall into two language-based subgroups. My focus today is on interpreters who interpret between Estonian and Russian. I will leave aside those who interpret between Estonian and other foreign languages, such as English, French, Swedish, Latvian, Greek, and others, which are used at guest performances and theatre festivals. To get a comprehensive picture of theatre interpreting in Estonia, I conducted 88 interviews with interpreters, people who recruited interpreters, and people who benefited from interpreting as audience members. This led to interviews with 20 theatre interpreters. My talk today is based on the pool of 14 interpreters working between Estonian and Russian. In 1951, Estonia was arguably the first republic in the Soviet Union to introduce interlingual theatre interpreting. Regular theatre interpreting from Estonian into Russian decreased in the 1990s after Estonia had restored its independence and was stopped in 2012. Since then, it has been used at a select number of performances. From 1951 to 1991, theatre interpreting took place in 7 Estonian theatres, as is evidenced by interviews, archival documents, newspaper articles, and performance schedules published in newspapers. 3 theatres provided interpretation regularly, 2 throughout the season, and the 3rd during the so-called summer season, which lasted 1 month for holidaymakers at a summer resort. Other theatres were also used as conference venues. All seats were equipped with sockets to plug in headsets. Headsets were available in the cloakroom free of charge. On the cloakroom wall, there was a sign informing the audience that it was possible to listen to interpretation into Russian. In 1948, a Russian language theatre was founded for the Russian population in Estonia, at which just a few performances were interpreted from Russian into Estonian. For about 60 years, the theatre experienced major difficulties. It lacked an audience, used second-rate theatre directors from Moscow, and suffered from internal conflicts and managerial mistakes. Managerial changes in 2011 led to improved productions. Now, since Estonia's accession to the European Union in 2004, the Estonian Integration Foundation has launched a number of integration projects, such as development of common cultural space through joint activities. The European Social Fund has a sub-project entitled Activities Supporting Integration into Estonian Society. These are aimed at financing interpreting and acquiring interpreting equipment. Estonia's development plan, Integrating Estonia 2020, included a project provision of multilingual cultural services in theatres and museums. Under its new management and in line with these types of projects, the Russian theatre has opted to use simultaneous interpretation. As part of the changes, the theatre has now acquired new state-of-the-art simultaneous interpretation equipment, and in 2017 advertised a competition to recruit a simultaneous interpreter to interpret theatre performances from Russian into Estonian. The job description read as follows, quote, "The interpreter will read a prepared text. As the spectator expects each line to be interpreted, the interpreter will have to be able to improvise when interpreting and to respond quickly to situations when the actors improvise or deviate for whatever reason from the previous text." Unquote. Let's look now at technological advances in theatre interpreting. Are there any advantages to live theatre interpreting compared to surtitling? Is a personal smartphone displaying drama surtitles a viable technical solution? Does technological progress influence the practice of interpreting, and if so, how? These are the questions to consider. To improve access to opera, surtitling was first introduced by the Canadian Opera Company in 1983. Since then, the use of surtitles has become widespread in opera houses all over the world. In operas, there is obviously less improvisation than in drama productions. A lag between surtitles and the spoken word could have a detrimental effect on the entire production. Technical problems with surtitles can also disturb audience members who do not understand the original. Despite such potential issues, surtitles have also begun to be used in many drama theatres. This is one way to solve linguistic issues at drama festivals. Static surtitles, however, do not take into account improvisation, do not contribute to the real-life theatre experience. The final version of theatre interpreting is, after all, always, quote, performed live in real time, unquote. Synchronization problems, delayed responses, misplaced bursts of laughter arising from poor surtitling are very upsetting for the actors as well as the audience listening to the original and constitute challenges to be surpassed. Compared to surtitling, which may shorten the text to 1/3 or 1/2, theatre interpreters can be more expressive if properly prepared, which is very important for guest performances at international festivals. Several Estonian stage producers have expressed doubt about the usefulness of surtitles, saying that drama productions are very different from Hollywood movies. In addition, as I said before, static surtitles do not take into account improvisation and do not contribute to the real-life theatre experience. A good theatre interpreter, on the other hand, may make the audience forget their headsets and the linguistic barrier. As a result of common cultural space projects, two theatres, the Estonian Drama Theatre and the Russian Theatre, are focusing on providing simultaneous interpreting rather than surtitles. 5 theatres preferred to test different modern surtitling solutions, such as iPads and smartphones. Benefiting from the projects, they introduced an e-solution, a new type of software. This allows the users to select any number of languages on a smartphone. The drama subtitles will then be displayed on the screen of either his or her personal smartphone or an iPad borrowed from the theatre for the deposit of €25. To view the subtitles on a personal device, it is necessary to download the Sophocles app from the App Store or Google Play. The phone should be switched onto silent mode in order not to disturb others with incoming calls or texts. Next, the user chooses a Wi-Fi connection. If Sophocles is downloaded, the app itself directs the user to the subtitles they require. The subtitles are displayed as light-colored text against a dark background and are not supposed to interfere with other viewers. A major concern for spectators has been their inability to read the text and look at the stage and follow the plot at the same time. Drama productions are an integral blend of body language, meaningful glances, loaded silences, and numerous details which create a visual composite. Reading subtitles distracts the viewer's attention from concerted efforts the stage director and set, costume, and lighting designers and others have made to create the production. Even more distracting than subtitles is the use of personal smartphones to read subtitles, as the phone screen is brightly illuminated and disturbs other viewers. It makes no difference whether your neighbor is reading subtitles or is on Facebook. One drama theatre in a small Estonian town of 15,000 people has acquired 40 tablets to provide Russian subtitles at a select number of performances. The new venture was promoted as performances with simultaneous interpretation into Russian. However, several members of the audience expressed their surprise after the first performance. The simultaneous interpretation was not to be listened through headphones, but rather read from the tablet screen. Despite this turn towards modern technology, my research has revealed that at least one theatre decided to drop the iPad smartphone solution and instead return to subtitles. And even if high-tech gadgets seem to be taking over, and even if theatre interpreting might gradually be phased out, replaced by other delivery methods, 3 years ago, the Russian theatre in Estonia employed a full-time theatre interpreter to interpret performances from Russian into Estonian. It has since then enjoyed higher audience numbers. In 2018, as part of the integration project, one of the theatres, the Vanemuine, introduced the iPad smartphone solution for all musical productions and selected drama productions in 4 languages: Estonian, Finnish, English, and Russian. Estonian subtitles are, of course, also helpful with hearing impairments who might otherwise miss some text. Despite these efforts, the theatre put an end to the iPad smartphone project, providing subtitles to drama productions in 2019. According to the theatre, the technical solution was not feasible. There was no reliable data about how the iPad solution was used, as each new login was registered as a new event of use. In addition, as this solution was Wi-Fi based, then my personal experience also showed that the connection sometimes froze and occasionally several login attempts were necessary. Each new login meant answering a number of introductory questions about its use, such as language proficiency, one's mother tongue, etc., etc. According to the theatre administration, the service was not very popular. Costs also exceeded benefits. The translation and editing of the plays and preparation and display of surtitles, all that was quite expensive. And according to the actors, the awareness that potential improvisation or ellipses in the text would mean imprecise surtitles inhibited their acting. A couple of times it was decided after the premiere that a few scenes needed shortening, which led to revision of the surtitles. It was also necessary to justify the use of surtitles to the playwrights, and the provision about this had to be introduced in copyright agreements. Finally, there was also some feedback from the audience that iPad screens were disturbing. In brief, the theatre defended the discontinuation, saying there were many challenges and few benefits. To come back to simultaneous interpreters of theatre performances, during both periods, they also worked other jobs. None of them were conference interpreters, and only 2 were full-time theatre interpreters. Although projects on adaptation and integration services have now come to an end in Estonia, interpretation equipment continues to be used. The Russian theatre has benefited most from theatre interpreting, reversing its low attendance numbers. European Union funding to facilitate the sharing of common cultural space has helped theatres obtain state-of-the-art interpreting equipment. Theatre interpreting has brought different language communities together in the same cultural space, promoting integration. With my historic research into 70 years of theatre interpreting in Estonia, the voice of Estonian theatre interpreters has emerged from across the decades. The use of iPads and smartphones, on the other hand, has not received an enthusiastic reception. Such a multimedia solution may work well for museums, but for drama productions, further improvement will be needed. The best effect is achieved when audience members forget the multimedia guide in their hand or ear. Good theatre interpreters do just that. They make the audience forget the interpretation and make them simply enjoy the performance, combining excellent linguistic skills in both the target and source languages, which take their cues from the actors. Thank you for your attention.